Before embarking on the Schoolvision programme with Zack, I found the homeworks were terrible. He couldn't read. It took hours and hours to do homeworks. Zack would have come home at about 2:45, 2:50. I'd be going, I can't wait for this to be over, because I hated it. Zack had actually, when he was in P5, he had a reading age of 4, and he was 7 and a half. And we didn't know what was wrong with him. And basically that was it, the homeworks. I could not take the homeworks anymore. I called in and told him that I wasn't going to do homeworks anymore. I have actually said to another family that it nearly driven me to drink with the homeworks, because he just couldn't do them. He would have had headaches, and you can't blame him now whenever you realise what was wrong with him, that he had headaches, because everything was moving on him, so that's what I found by working with the Schoolvision. And I actually picked up the Schoolvision because within here I have 3 other boys, and it was their turn to be in with Noel to get their eyes tested. But there was a wee notice on the table that said Schoolvision and dyslexia, and I just picked it up and thought to myself, is Zack dyslexic? Is this what's wrong with him? And I just lifted and I asked Noel, could you test him for it? I just had a chat with Noel and said, is it possible that that's what's wrong with him? And he said, well, we can do the test. If the test shows that it works, then we can go ahead and get it done. And it did. It showed me Zack can't throw a ball. Zack cannot ride a bicycle. Zack has no balance. He has balance issues. He had a lot of issues before this started. He would have called himself stupid because he didn't know how to do things. He didn't know how to do the maths questions that had questions like, like Sally went on a walk and she walked 5 miles and then took her so many hours to walk home. He hated those questions. Anything with words in it, he hated it. Those are things that he really had a large issue with, huge issue with. Did the test with Noel. He threw up. I remember coming in and doing the test. I remember thinking, how long is this test going to be? And Noel said, it could be an hour and a half. And I was going, he's 7. This is going to take a long time. He's not going to sit for this. But he was very good. He sat up, he did the reading. It did take him a long time to do it. It did show that the line that he had to read, it took him 1 minute and 40 seconds, I think it was, to get through the line. And with the Schoolvision, I know he's been on it now for over 2 years, but he's now at 28 seconds, as far as I know, as far as I can remember. Is that right, Zack? 28 seconds is what he is. He's doing brilliantly on it. I remember him coming out here and throwing a ball at him, and it was just the same as at home. This is the hands going everywhere. You couldn't catch a ball. He can't ride. He did the looking up, looking down like you would with the school board. He couldn't do that. There's so many things. And I was sceptical. I will say I was sceptical because I had never heard of this, and I could never think, how can wearing a pair of glasses fix what's wrong with Zack? You know what I mean? Because everybody had said dyslexia is in the brain, therefore you can't fix it. And I was very sceptical of this. But we did go ahead with the programme. And after I think it was 6 weeks, Zack sat on his glasses and broke them. Completely. And in those 6 weeks, because it took so long to get them to come back, because it was the early stages, I found he reverted straight back to where he was, where he couldn't read at all. And I just thought, this actually works. This actually does work. And that was even the teacher said to me, Zack's reading is much better. Zack is getting on, he can understand his questions, he's doing his comprehension. And as you went on through school years. He's in P7 now, and he's heading up to Auckland College, and he's doing so much better. He's doing fantastically. Like, he actually enjoys reading. Like, whenever he was smaller, before he started this, if you asked him to read a book, they're very good at memorising the book. They're not very good at reading. If you'd stopped him and said, "What's that word?" he wouldn't have a clue. He'd have to think. He'd go through the whole book before he would say, "Oh, well, that's that word." He couldn't tell you what the word was. He can memorise. They're all very good. I have found that with other wee ones that I can see, you know, and I can say, "Oh, you are not reading that book. You've memorised that book." And I found he actually loves reading. He's reading The Diary of the Wimpy Kid at the minute. He loves it. He really loves it. He's into Skullduggery and all these other books. He's into, you know, he will sit and read. Whereas if you had said a book to him before, it was, "I'm not doing that." That was plain and simple. "I'm not doing that." He didn't like playing with his Lego like the other boys would have, but he'll sit now and he fitters with the wee things because he's very good at doing all of that. I can't tell you the difference in him. The difference is night and day to him. We did the test today, and he's actually improved his eyesight, because he was complaining to me that when he was reading with his readers, he couldn't see because it was too far away. And we found out now that he is actually getting better. So his eyesight is actually getting better. His actual eyesight is improving. It's what Noel would call the myopic lenses that my other boys would have, which they do use, which I'm surprised because they're bigger, but they do use them. And his eyesight has got better. And at this age, I can remember from wearing glasses myself, your eyes would have been getting worse and worse very quickly. I remember Sam's eyes got very bad very quickly at this age. But his has not. His is steady, completely steady, and the long vision is better by a full point, which is very good. Now I've talked to many parents about this. I have a friend who has a wee girl, and she's definitely dyslexic. She actually calls herself stupid. Now, this child has called herself stupid from the age of 4, and children don't actually come up with that word themselves because they don't know that word, so somebody called her it. And I find that very difficult to take, because she comes home and she says, "I don't need to go to school because I'm stupid. I don't need to do any of this." So I'm trying to get her to come in and get her. There is times I honestly would love to just lift the child and say, "Come on, I know this will fix it. I know it can be fixed." I see it in a lot of children, probably more so than other people would. People would say, "That's a bad behaved child." It's not a bad behaved child. There's a reason that child is doing what it's doing. Probably because she's been called stupid for so long, she can no longer see any point of it being any different. Why should it be good? Because I'm being called bad and thick anyway, you know. So I just don't want to see her going down that road, you know. So, but as for Zack's doing, I cannot say how Zack's doing. Zack's doing brilliantly. You know, the teachers are impressed with Zack. To be truthful, Zack could very easily have done the transfer test, but he just didn't. He wanted to go to Auckland, and that's where he wanted to go. The boys have all gone. My oldest boy is now at Coleraine University studying psychology. Jake is down in Uri studying engineering, and David is doing his GCSEs. And they're all, actually David has turned around and said that he's finding some of the subjects a bit boring because they're too slow for him. You do get a lot of skeptical people that say, you know, this is a lot of money. You know, how can this work? It's not just a case of it taking 5 minutes to work. It will take time. And if they're not a normal person who wears glasses in the first place, you do need to make them wear their glasses all the time whenever they're supposed to do any fothery work. If they're great at their Lego, if they're great at their wee notes, or if they're at their Barbie dolls or whatever they're at, you know, make them wear their glasses. And the more that they wear their glasses, the quicker it will fix it. And not only that, the quicker they learn to change their glasses as well. You know, that's what I find, you know. But for the initial test, even if you just go for the initial test to see, is this going to benefit my child? You know, it's not that big of a deal. Go and get it done. Go and just say, is this going to work or not going to work? And, well, I know Noel is not a hard man to talk to. He's an easy man to talk to. And if you do have money issues, or if you do have thought issues about why is this not working, or how could this possibly work a pair of glasses, because I've been told that this is in my child's brain and colours affect my children and all this. It's a totally different system. It's a totally different way of thinking, and Noel will talk you through it and hopefully sort out whatever issues that you have. But take that step and go and just get it checked out. Everybody wants the best for their children, and all you want to do is just go for that initial test. It's not that hard to do. Pick up the phone. He's there, he'll listen to you. If he listens to me, he'll listen to anyone.
Well, at first I couldn't read a thing. It was just a problem. I couldn't read anything, and it just frustrated me whenever I tried to read. But ever since I got my glasses, I've been able to read, and I love reading now, and it's just a thing that I love doing. But the problem is, the accelerated reader quizzes that we have are they don't give you enough time, but I just love reading, and I just feel like I don't know what to say.
You get 100% in your tests now, don't you?
Yeah.
Most of your tests, you're actually that high up in the reader books, it's getting harder and harder to get you a book to read. Isn't that right? An interesting book.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about your most favourite book you've ever read.
My most favourite would be Spy Dog, the series of Spy Dog, or that one. Because it's an interesting book. It doesn't include normal things. It has an interesting twist to it, because it has a story of a dog that's normal, and then there's a doctor that takes it in and tries to train it into being able to ride bicycle and using a grappling hook and things like that. So it's a quite interesting book, and I like the series of Spy Dog, and that's why.
I think that makes a big difference, because he actually understands now the book. It makes it interesting for him. It's not a case of memorising it. He understands the book and he wants to read, whereas we didn't want to read. Is that right?
Yeah.
Good.